Alright, quick video. Here's a few tips on how to build an attractive physique. Number 1, try to saturate your glycogen stores. So most people don't eat enough carbs for maximum athletic performance. And you need carbs if you want that muscle fullness of, for example, physiques like this. So extra carbs, they usually get stored inside your muscles as glycogen stores, and 1 gram of glycogen typically absorbs between 3 and 4 grams of water. So it's increasing water weight, but inside the muscles. And it gives muscles that full look. If you want density, that's myofibrillar. If you want fullness, that's usually sarcoplasmic, which is then replenished by glycogen. A lot of what people call sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is glycogen replenishment and supercompensation. So essentially, glycogen stores and make your muscles look fuller, and it gives you energy during your workouts. It's also been proven to increase strength, so people that consume higher carbs compared to lower carbs, they are stronger at the gym, and they have more energy. They feel more energetic during their workouts, they progress faster, as well as they look fuller overall. So there's a bunch of benefits when it comes to athletic performance and when it comes to aesthetics as well. So I would say this is extremely important if you want an aesthetic physique. Number 2 is about limiting the amount of dietary fats. And this is not because of some theory of dietary fat making you fat. It's simply you don't actually need that much. So higher carbs, they will give you usually more benefits because you'll have more muscle fullness, more glycogen stores, more energy. It's pretty easy for your body to oxidize it. But with dietary fats, there are benefits. For example, it's very calorically dense. So if you struggle putting on weight, dietary fats can help. But overall, what they do is they optimize your hormone production. So for example, to synthesize testosterone, you need to be getting enough dietary fats. And also, there are a bunch of liposoluble nutrients, for example, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, etc. So you need enough fats if you want to absorb nutrients and if you want to have high testosterone. But like I said, you don't actually need that much. We only need around 20 to 30% of the calories from fat. And the average person in the United States, they get over 35% of their calories from fat. So the amount of dietary fat that the average person needs to optimize their hormones and to maximize nutrient absorption is way less than what they're actually consuming. And also, fat is really easy to overeat, especially when it comes to oils. 1 tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. So things that are fried or things that contain a lot of oil, you can actually overeat on calories pretty easily because of such high caloric density. So with a very low food volume, you can actually get a ton of calories. This is bad if you have a tendency to gain weight, but it could argue it could be good if you have the opposite tendency, if you tend to be too skinny. But overall, the point here is most people already get way too much dietary fat, at least when it comes to the percentage of calories. So for example, if you're 80 kg, then maybe you need around 80 grams of fat per day if you want to maximize the androgenic aspect and the nutrient absorption aspect. You likely don't need much more or much less than that. But we are currently consuming way more than we actually need. And the more unnecessary fat they consume, the less opportunity you have to consume carbs and protein. Protein will build the muscle and carbs will fill up the glycogen stores, and those actually have not necessarily more benefits because you're going to need everything. But you get what I mean. Every single time you're eating unnecessary fats, even though you're already maxing out hormone production and nutrient absorption, there's an opportunity cost. And you could be having fuller muscles, for example, by eating more carbs instead. Number 3, avoid large caloric surpluses or deficits. I see this all the time. Patience is not something that I see very often. So it's extremely common for me to see people do, for example, 1500 calorie surpluses or deficits or more. Maybe they're eating a lot of fast food. Maybe they just eat foods that are addictive. Whatever the reason is, it's very rare for me to see people doing it in a sustainable way. Then, of course, these people end up gaining weight way too fast. And the opposite is also true. They lose weight way too fast. And they lose a bunch of muscle while they're cutting. And this is kind of a waste of time and obviously not sustainable at all. I think in most cases you should aim for around a 500 calorie surplus or deficit while also tracking your weight. And if your weight is not moving at the speed that you want it to for your goals, then you can actually increase or decrease, depending on your goal, the amount of calories that you consume. So for this, yes, you would need to track calories and also to keep an eye on your weight, because sometimes we think we are on a surplus or deficit, but then our weight is actually not moving. And if that's the case, you're at maintenance. The best calorie calculator in the end is your weight scale. But ideally, both a calorie tracker and also monitoring your weight to see where you're going and at which speed you're getting there. And by the way, if you want to build a more attractive physique, I have a program inside my school community. So go check it out by clicking the link in the pinned comment and joining my school community.